And we're live.
Hello, hello. Oh,
Okay.
I see the little live light blinking there. So,
Yes.
hello to you and hello to anyone who is watching us today.
Yeah. So Rhea is joining us from Michigan.
Yes, I am right now. I am in Southfield, Michigan, visiting with my father, and then I head to Toledo, Ohio, in a couple of days to visit with my mother. So this is the time that I check on the parental unit, and
And isn't that great that like with technology we could still do this even though
it
that
is.
you're in
It really is. I'm so
amazing.
happy about that. Yes.
I love it. Love that we could do that. All right, so we'll want to give it just a few minutes and see who hops on
Yes,
because we do have that little delay.
we do. But let's just jump into it in just a couple of minutes. I
Yeah,
think we
definitely.
need to greet people.
Definitely.
But
And we had a request for a topic today.
yes, we are talking about trust.
Yes, we talk about trust. That's a pretty big topic.
It really is. We could talk about. We've had a couple of big topics. I mean, we talked in our first week about just professional growth, developing a professional growth plan, focusing on your personal development. I'm sorry, I'm saying professional growth. I mean personal growth, uh, and uh, and then going from there, we talked last week about judgment,
Yeah.
and and then we got a request to talk about trust. So this is, I love getting requests. I love that people are engaged and want to hear from us. And certainly, if you are watching us on the replay, then please dial in, join us, not dial in, join us, tune in every Tuesday. We we're doing this at 7:30, but we this is our second week at 6:30. And how's
Yeah.
it working for you, Laura? Is 6:30 working for you?
6:30 is working for me.
Yeah, it's working for me too. So
And
maybe we should.
and then we also have some colleagues that are doing one at 7:30, so we can
Yeah,
do both if we do 6:30. So
exactly. So we're not overlapping. I don't think all of our friends are the same people. I don't know that there's a lot of overlap there, but we think that both of the sessions are worthwhile. So certainly, if you're listening to us, we also have colleagues out there who are really focused on the 15 uh, what is it, the
yeah,
15 I just 15 laws
invaluable look.
of the 15 invaluable, I cannot remember the word invaluable, but the 15 invaluable laws of personal growth. It's a book written by the incredible, the unmatched leadership guru John Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very, I mean, if you haven't tuned in to listen to them, it is time well spent. In
Yeah.
addition to time well spent with us. So yes.
Yes, I think so.
Yes,
All right, so should we delve into trust?
I think we should.
All right. So, and for those of you that don't know, Rhea and I are both John Maxwell certified coaches, speakers, and trainers. We do a lot of different types of things, but we do follow the Maxwell philosophy when it comes to leadership training in any way, coaching
Mhm.
as well. All right. So, do you want to start us off because trust is it's a pretty critical factor in being able to live your best life, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And wait a minute, got to turn my volume down here. I As I'm actually looking at us live, and so I can see us. See, my hair is a little kooky, but anyway, uh, airplane hair. But on the issue of trust, I think a lot of times when people ask about trust, they're strictly focused on should we trust others, and sometimes it's wrapped into a discussion about forgiveness too.
Yeah.
Forgiveness and trust, but The thing that's different about this conversation that we want to have today is it's more related to trusting ourselves. And that is, I mean, you are the person that you are with 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
You have to be able to trust yourself and trust yourself to take care of yourself. So, what happens when you get to those moments where you realize you don't? I mean, for example, you come out of a bad relationship and then you go into another relationship that's pretty much the same, and you come out of that,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're questioning not just uh, trusting other people, but first of all trusting yourself to make the right choices. And that's one of the things that I've been faced with, in life, is just coming out of a situation and asking, well, I'm going to make another decision. Is this the right decision?
Yeah.
So, and then a lot of times it comes down to asking, well, why is this pattern repeating? What's going on? And then realizing and learning, for me over the last few years, that it comes down to what you think and what you think about yourself and what you think you deserve, what you want. I mean, there's so much wrapped into it. And, again, that book, As a Man Thinketh, is so important, is so applicable even to the issue of trust. So, uh, it
And
just,
that's really interesting, because when we trust someone
mm-hmm,
and they may be proved to be untrustworthy,
mm-hmm.
we start to doubt ourselves,
Yes, we do.
right? Signs we missed, things we didn't see. How could I have been so fill in the blank?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right. And then the self-talk starts, and then what happens from there, right? With our
Yeah,
thoughts.
and even those moments, I mean, depending upon, even before you get to the self-talk, sometimes that self-talk takes on the negative things that someone else has said to you, and trying to tell you reasons why you can't trust yourself, because what that other person said about you is true. And you have to be able to combat that. You have to be able to work through all of that, because you need to trust yourself, and you need to feel worthy of your own trust. And it can be done. It absolutely can be done.
Yeah, it's not always easy, because
No.
sometimes so many circumstances. I know with me,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think there might be a lot of women that have lived my life that wouldn't trust men, because
Mm-hmm.
when I was 18, my father left, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that creates, you have to give that meaning. My father
Mm-hmm.
left. What does that mean? Does it mean all men are untrustworthy? Does it mean I'm not good enough to have him here with me? Does it mean men leave? What meaning do you give that situation? And at that time, I remember giving it the meaning that I will never depend on a man.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
did. I definitely gave it that meaning. It wasn't my lifelong wish to have to get married or to want to get married. I knew I had to make enough money myself. I needed to
Mm-hmm.
be able to support myself. It became very important to me. But I could have given that meaning that all men are no good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because
And
a
I should.
father, when a father makes a decision like that, it
Yes.
could really make you believe it's blanket.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. And it's important to be able to to spend time breaking down those thoughts,
Yes.
and asking yourself, what sometimes I have to ask myself, what am I really thinking? What do I really think? What do I really think about that situation? And quite often that's why That's where journaling comes in,
Yeah.
where so I don't think most of us sit down and look in the mirror and have a conversation, but your journal becomes your mirror, and your place where you can really reveal yourself
Yeah.
and get to the heart of issues. And I am not, one to say that all answers are in the journal. I mean, sometimes it's necessary to get professional help, even to help come to the realization of what's happening, or to develop your own self awareness or coaching. You
Oh,
and I love
absolutely.
coaching.
Because
Yeah.
you can reframe anything
Mhm.
at any time.
Mhm.
That's the great thing about the subconscious mind is it has these beliefs that it created a long time ago, but
Mhm.
you don't have to necessarily dig them all up to reframe them.
Mhm.
It takes work.
Yeah, it does. It
It
does, and
does.
it takes time.
Yes.
It's but you have to be. You're worth it, and you have to be willing to do it. Yeah. I mean, I can speak an experience that I had. I mean, I think we wanted to talk a little bit about even not just romantic relationships, but the trust in the workplace
Yes. Yes.
is
Yes.
very important. Yeah.
hmm and so what can happen when we work, with someone or even have a director or a manager above us
Mhm.
who we can't trust.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right.
And
And I think you could speak on that, right?
oh yeah, I can speak on that. I can speak on being in a situation where not only did I not trust my manager, but based on things that were happening, I had started to doubt myself and not trust myself. So that when the time came and I was able to get out of that situation, get another position, and fortunate enough to be able to work with someone that I really do trust and respect a lot, I still had those remnants of doubt, and wondered, because my confidence was shaken,
Yeah.
and even wondered, okay, can I do this? Can I trust myself to be who I need to be? And I really had to work through that. Had to spend time with myself. Had to really, first of all, become aware of what I was thinking, what I was feeling, and spend time working through it. And it's been a little while, but it's working, and I'm very happy. I'm happy in my position now. So
And
there's
I mean, can you share a little bit about how you worked through that?
some of the things that I've said. I mean, for me, it took a lot of prayer. It really did, and a lot of very specific prayer, telling God how I felt, and being very honest about how I felt in those moments where I felt like I couldn't do what I needed to do, or I couldn't do the job. Lord, am I really not equipped? And then also asking myself, are there areas where I am not equipped?
So
And what do
you challenged your own thoughts.
I challenged my own thoughts and did an assessment of where I was, and took the time to praise myself, to really be specific about accomplishments, and both before the last position and during that last position, and really pat myself on the back for great things that I'd done,
Mm.
and even whether they were recognized or whether they weren't, but still do the inventory. So where do I need help? What can I improve? It, not perfect, not
Right.
perfect by any sense of the word. So what can I do better? and then asking God to I love that song. Open the eyes to open the eyes of my heart, Lord. I wanted to be able to see the things that were true and accurate that were said. Was there constructive criticism? Let me be able to see and hear that, because in the end, I want to be better. I want to be stronger. And then getting to the point where I wasn't bitter. I wasn't, and still I'm not bitter, not angry with the person. What happened, happened, but I can look back on that time and be grateful for the lessons that I got from that.
Yeah.
And I think that applies not just in a workplace situation, but in anything. I'm grateful for the lessons. Do I want to go back to that? No, not exactly the same way.
It hurts.
But I learned a lot.
It hurts when somebody, you place your trust in someone
Hmm. Hmm.
and they don't pull through.
Hmm.
And sometimes we take that personally, but trust is something. Sometimes people trust others very quickly.
Yes.
Sometimes others trust people takes a long time. For me,
Hmm.
I tend to trust people maybe a little too soon, but cautiously, with
Hmm.
little bits along the way. You know what I mean?
I understand.
Trust to me is something that builds little bit at a time.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
but I mean, how do we love if we can't trust? And that's where I get stuck because I try every day, like my regimen is to come from a place of love. It's my intention every day. I want to vibrate at love because it's the highest vibration in the world.
Hmm.
And so when you want to come from a place of love, how can you not trust?
Right.
So I get stuck there quite often.
Hmm.
So there are times I make myself vulnerable. And I know I'm making myself vulnerable, but I know that not everybody's trustworthy.
I know the same, but there are moments where I take the risk, and
Yes.
and and it's important to me to do the same. I and I don't say this very often. I'm saying it on a public forum, but I love the people I work with. I am I have been so blessed to work in a company where there've just been so many people that I am inspired by. Um, I think I've reported to my current boss like 5 different times. And I told her years ago, you will never be rid of me. Never. But I love the people that I work with. I love the people that are on my team. I want the best for them. And I feel like, and I've heard this so many times, if you don't love them, you can't lead them. And it's true. It is really true for me. I don't know if everyone else shares that sentiment, but it's very true for me.
Yeah.
So I have to trust them to do their best.
Right. But now,
And
then there are people where if somebody does something wrong one
hmm.
time, they'll say,
Hmm.
I can't trust them. They broke
That's
me,
right.
right? So, there's also a fine line between that. What's breaking trust and what's making a mistake? What's goofing
Hmm.
off? Like I made a mistake. I did the wrong thing. I messed up.
Hmm.
You know.
I think I mean, what do you think? Do you think there's a hard line on that?
Well, I think that there are some people where if somebody does something wrong once,
Hmm.
they might think, that they can't trust them anymore.
And understood for me, it depends on what it is. It just depends on what I am more likely to trust than I think people would believe. I am. I am more likely to want to hear a person out Uh, and I have the belief that most people are doing their best. Most people think that they made a choice and they thought that was the right choice. Now there are
Right.
some people who are just sick and or sick in the mind, sick in the heart. But I just believe most people think that they're making the right choice at the time.
But see, I have to time out there because that's it in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm,
You have a belief that everybody does the best they can at the time that they're in.
mm-hmm,
So that belief protects you. You know, we create our beliefs and then our beliefs create us. So if you have a belief that says everybody's trying their best, they really are, but everybody's best is different, if they don't pull through for you, that belief keeps you okay.
it
If,
it it
right,
does. It keeps me okay, but it doesn't keep me from being able to recognize when they mess up. I mean, it doesn't. And I don't think I create excuses for them. I try to understand what is happening, and this is workplace, out of the workplace.
right.
You try to put yourself in another person's shoes, that kind of thing. But that will only go so far. It but it's likely to fuel my compassion in the way that I handle a situation where there's some people, something happens and they just go off the deep end.
Right,
I
exactly.
I am more likely to, although sometimes I want to go off the deep end, but I am more likely to want to have the careful, caring conversation and still make my point
Hmm.
and still be firm, but I want to have the conversation, and I've just that feels more like me.
Right, but
But
your belief, there are some
yes,
people that have this belief.
hmm,
Everyone's out to get me, and you know what? I'm going to show them. Nobody's going to put it over on me.
that's right.
Okay, now if
Hmm.
that's somebody's belief, and it could be for a million reasons that you have that belief,
Hmm.
but if that's your belief, then you're going to handle it very different than the way you handle it
Yes.
with the belief you have.
Yeah. Yep.
So again, it sometimes it's about reframing things. It's about changing the meaning. It's about creating new beliefs.
Hmm.
But if we can't trust in anything, then life becomes intolerable. Really,
Yes.
it becomes a life of paranoia. It becomes a life of negativity, of looking over your shoulder all the time.
Hmm.
Life becomes really hard.
Hmm. And it becomes a life of judgment too. There's a link back to judgment with that.
Yes,
So
there.
it's I agree. It becomes very difficult,
Yes.
and you have to want it to change.
Yes,
You
and if
want
you
it to
want to
change.
live your best life, you need it to change. Not
That's
for
right.
everybody else, but
Hmm.
for us, right? So somewhere you have to create the cycle of trust again for
Hmm.
you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that means going out on a limb of faith.
Hmm.
Let me tell you, when Chris and I got married, and this is the truth, and I don't even know if I should say this because I don't know who's going to be watching, but when we got married, I did not want to have children right away, you
Hmm.
know? And he talked about it, and I didn't because I needed faith in our marriage
Hmm.
because of what happened with my parents.
Understood.
So sometimes we have to build a little faith back up,
Hmm.
you know, before we can, really go out there. Not that I didn't trust him. He had never given me a reason not to trust him. It was
Hmm.
me. It was my belief
Hmm.
that I didn't want to have children and then something go wrong. If something
Hmm.
was going to go wrong, let it go wrong now.
Right. Right. No,
um,
I get it.
right. So, but somewhere along the way, I had to start a cycle of trust again. I had
Hmm.
to, right, in order to have a good marriage, in order to, you know, um, be happy.
That's right.
You know, he had nothing to do with what had happened in my life,
Hmm.
and it came time for me to reframe things, you know, to build my faith so that I can trust.
Do
You
you
know,
feel do you feel happier when you trust?
oh yes,
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And will I misplace trust sometimes? Absolutely.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I will.
yeah.
But will I let them stop me from trusting to be happy in my own life? No, that's not going to happen,
Mhm. Mhm.
because I could take it if somebody isn't trustworthy,
Mhm.
because it's no reflection of me.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but I'm not afraid of doing the work either. I love doing the work on myself. And I think, I think once you start, it's, you keep going.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not looking for perfection, because I mean, that doesn't exist, but there's always something to work on in yourself that can create a greater, deeper happiness, um, imagery, thoughts, what you're going to put out in the world.
Yes, yes, I agree. It's actually a wonderful thing, and it's wonderful to participate in your own healing
Yes.
in a situation, and change, and we've talked before about change and transformation. It's wonderful to be able to participate in that. And now, uh, I have. Do you have situations where there was a line and you said, "That's it, I'm done"? And I have not very many of those. I do have some, and where I did finally make that like up, tried everything. I already see where this is going.
Hmm.
I'm not continuing with this. I'm done. And
Yeah.
and in those moments, being able to know that you don't have regrets for that, that you put yourself out there, you opened yourself up, you trusted, and like you said, when person's not trustworthy, it's then in that case, in that situation, it's about them. And I'm not carrying around this wound anymore. I keep tapping my microphone. Sorry, not carrying around this wound anymore. It is, I know, done it all. I'm through. That's it. And I can walk away from that with a clear conscience and a an open mind and an open heart.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know what the truth is? We're writing the story,
Hmm.
and sometimes we write our story and we stop and we stay in it.
Hmm.
We just decide we're going to stay on page 92, and that's where we're going to dwell. We're going to camp out on page 92. And how are we going to turn the page? How are we going to write more story if we're stuck on page 92? So
Hmm.
live it, learn it, figure it out, and turn the page.
That's right.
Right? And it's hard to do that sometimes. And like you said, there are people to help with that. You know, I mean, coaching helps with that. Therapy might help with that, depending on what it is that you're going through.
Right.
Um, but do something, because nobody wants to stay on page 92 forever,
Hmm. Hmm.
because it's trapping. You're trapped,
Hmm.
you know, and that's where we're staying in our head, and we can't move past it until we decide, you know, to work it out and turn the page.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but so those of you listening tonight on trust, it's a tough one, um, but it's up to us to work through what it means to us. If
Hmm.
somebody else has taken the trust you've given them and thrown it away, or not treated it as a gift that it is, that's on them.
That's
And
true.
if we stay in that page and be the victim in it, then we're holding ourselves back.
Hmm. I agree.
Yeah. So leave some comments. I don't know that this was actually live, because I had a lot of texts saying they couldn't find it.
Oh.
So I will have to investigate after
Okay.
what happened. But do
People hang in there with us. We will work through
it
our
looks like it's
technology
live.
issues.
Looks like it's live, but
I actually have it up on my iPad, so I see that it's live, and it looks like I'm the only person who was able to connect, and I connected from your Facebook page.
I think
So
you see it because you're on the stream.
yeah, I
So I'll have to find out what's going on with that. But they can catch the replay and leave us
that's right.
comments. And
Please.
if there's anything that you want to talk about, we love taking requests, right?
Yes, we are like DJs. We are. This is Tune In Tuesday. Contact your Tune In Tuesday DJs, and we will talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. I mean, we are just blessed to be affiliated with the John Maxwell organization, and we work with some wonderful, wonderful people. And one of our friends has said something she calls "ask girl." What is it? Girl, ask me
Girl, ask me
anything.
anything.
Ask me anything. And one day I'm just going to give her a list of just the stuff that's going on in my head. So and just it's just a wonderful opportunity to work with such dedicated and loving people,
Yeah.
and that includes Laura. Laura's loving and dedicated, and you know what? So am I.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so this is Tune In Tuesdays. If you have a topic, let us know because we want to help you tune into you.
Yes, definitely. And we're up for anything, right? I
Yes,
mean,
yes,
we'll tackle it all. So we're fully resourced
yes,
and ready to go. All
and
right. So have an awesome week, everybody, and we'll
absolutely.
see you soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Rhea.
Bye.